Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. It's Monday afternoon. Thank you kindly for joining us. We are live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth country and the world, on the I Love CVille Network, presented by Skooma Boutique Dispensary, the best dispensary in Charlottesville. Skooma Boutique Dispensary, located next to Rapture on the downtown mall. We also give some friendly props, applause, and attention to Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Integrated Medicine for being a part of the show. Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Integrated Medicine, and our friends at IMBS Medical Billing Services. A lot to cover on today's program, ladies and gentlemen. England has lifted all COVID restrictions. That's a hot topic today. We have a new restaurant coming to the downtown mall called Botanical. We'll give you the nitty-gritty of that restaurant as we welcome the restaurateur, the owner of the brand, to the program on Friday. We will also talk about some closures of restaurants in Charlottesville and around Albemarle County. One of the restaurants that closed, Rocket Coffee on West Main, the owner, Scott Link, will join us on the show next week. So we're seeing a changing of the guard for restaurants in this community, and we'll discuss some of those today. We also want to highlight Virginia basketball as they make a late season push to potentially in NCAA men's basketball, college basketball tournament appearance. I think the Wahoos still have a hell of a lot of work left to do. Early season losses to Navy and JMU do not bolster their record or resume. However, the victories against Duke and Duke and 2 wins against Miami certainly are helping. The Wahoos in action Wednesday at 7 o'clock at the John Paul Jones Arena against the Duke Blue Devils in a game that will go a long way in determining the outcome of dancing in March for Tony Bennett's bunch. Carol Thorpe, hello and welcome to the program. Queen of Jack Jewett, thank you kindly for joining us. Scott Aaronworth, the King of Virginia Beach, hello and welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us, Scott Aaronworth. Johnny Ornalis, Bill McKenzie, Jason Howard, hello and welcome to the show. If you guys have a topic you'd like to see discussed, please put it in the feed and I will relay it live on air. We had a fantastic edition of Real Talk with Keith Smith and myself and Judah Wickower earlier today. That show archived on I Love CVille. Some of the topics and trends from that show we will cover today on this program. The lead, undoubtedly, and we'll get Judah Wickower here in a matter of moments, is England lifting COVID restrictions. I cannot emphasize this storyline enough. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has lifted all remaining COVID restrictions in England. He made that announcement today. Physicians in England have expressed some concern, but Boris Johnson has said it's time for citizens in our country to go and live their lives as they see fit. He also said it's a moment of pride after one of the most difficult periods in our country's history, end quote. I will repeat that again. Today, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson said he is lifting all COVID restrictions and said it is a moment of pride for folks across the UK, the lifting of these restrictions after one of the most difficult periods in England's history. On this network, 1 month ago, we used the word endemic. We said we're following what countries in Europe are doing. The United States is about a month behind them. We saw how heads of countries were lifting restrictions and mitigation strategies and mandates, saying it's time to move on. They referenced vaccinations, natural immunity. They referenced the mitigation strategies far outweighing the risk of the pandemic at this point. America is going to follow suit very soon thereafter. On March 1, in this state, in this Commonwealth, we are going to see masks removed from schools. And Judah, get ready to offer some perspective. as masks get removed from schools, from a mandated standpoint, parents are going to start getting more and more comfortable heading into spring and warmer months. I'm very excited for the potential promise and positivity that's on the very near horizon in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, Central Virginia, our Commonwealth and our country. Bill Gates said over the weekend that the pandemic is being managed appropriately and the risk is getting quite low for COVID in our country. Exact words from a man who's a master modeler, and he's used models to help project trends in this pandemic, and he's been right. Now, we have to ask ourselves these questions. If our country follows suit of one of the most influential countries in the world, and that's the UK, and if we follow suit, and I hate to say we're following suit of another country as opposed to being the trendsetter, but that's been the case the entire pandemic. If we follow suit of England, what is the cause and effect? What is the cause and effect of us doing something that Denmark did a month and change ago? I'll give you my take and get Judah's, and then you offer yours in the comment section, please. As we've mentioned on Real Talk this morning, I think you're going to see the uptick in real estate inventory really start to generate, to really start to be prevalent. As people and homeowners become less fearful of strangers walking through their houses in open house settings, more will come on the market. The real estate inventory crunch is real. You talk to realtors across Central Virginia, and they're all asking, we need something to sell. We have buyers, but we have no sellers. You'll see that change. Secondly, you're going to start seeing these restaurants, these breweries, these vineyards, these wineries, these places of food and beverage uptick in business even more. We went to 3 Notch yesterday for lunch, Guadalajara, or 3 Notch Saturday for lunch, Guadalajara yesterday for lunch. The previous week, we went to South Street Brewery for lunch. We've gone to First Watch for brunch, the Wool Factory for lunch, Now and Zen for dinner, Five Springs Station for dinner, takeout at Mona Lisa Pasta, dinner date at Tabula, lunch at Sticks Kebab Shop, wine and hors d'oeuvres at Mary Mill Farm and Vineyard. And here are a couple trends that I can relay to you from these experiences with my family. Each day, week, and weekend that goes by, I'm seeing more and more people and restaurants around this community, to the point where Saturday at 3 Notch Brewing Company, every single table was taken and there was a wait at the hostess stand. Guadalajara on Sunday, very similar trend. People eating inside in close confines to people that they do not know, enjoying life, having beers, wine, and awesome locally sourced and served food. I expect second quarter, we're halfway through first, a little more than halfway through first quarter. I expect second quarter to be gangbusters for our Central Virginia community. The first month of this year, January, we had to hunker down again. There's savings in our pockets, anticipation to enjoy the community, and now perhaps a confidence and willingness to do so that maybe we have not seen throughout this entire pandemic. There were two stages of confidence we've seen since COVID has sprung, and we're 2 years going into this in March. There was consumer confidence summer of last year, 2021. Summer and early fall, we were pumped, we were stoked, we were referencing the Roaring 20s, we were getting out and getting after it. And then Omicron hit. But there was a window of positivity and hope in this community, in this country. That window of hope and positivity and a willingness to engage outside of a pod or quarantine setting is exponentially higher now. And why that's the case is because of more knowledge about this pandemic, A, a higher vaccination rate than ever before, B, I'll cut to the chase, COVID fatigue, C, and a point of so many of us realizing that living in fear is not a path we will take anymore. And when you read or you watch CNBC or you read in the New York Times or in the Wall Street Journal or on the AP Newswire that England, the UK, is ending all COVID restrictions, you start looking around and saying to yourself, good Lord, we're America and we're the country of freedom, of manifest destiny, the country where you go to claim your destiny and you establish your fate through hard work. It is time for us to rise to the challenge of neighboring countries and pursue a path of freedom and a path that's emboldened by a zest for life as opposed to a path of fearful existence. The data is there. Vaccinations are available. Masking is an option. The warmer weather leads or yields outside experiences. Two years of evidence suggests clearly we're now in a path of very capable management and very realistic survival. I think the second quarter of this year, even the back half of Q1 of this year, vineyards, wineries, breweries, restaurants, weddings, food and beverage, hospitality, hotel, travel, music are going to have one of their best periods of existence they have ever known. Yes, I'm following some concerning key performance indicators. And I'm not oblivious to the fact the stock markets through the first 45 days of the year have been in the crapper. I am not oblivious to the fact that Russia and Ukraine are on the brink of war. Despite those KPIs, I'm incredibly bullish and positive because of this country's spirit for pursuit of manifest destiny and for living life to the fullest. There's a show I've been watching lately. It's called 1883 on Paramount Plus. Taylor Sheridan, the creator, the same man behind Yellowstone, Sons of Anarchy, and Mayor of Kingstown. And this particular show, 1883, I think is better than all of them. Yes, even Yellowstone. This program chronicles the manifest destiny push of a husband and wife, their 18-year-old daughter, and their 9 or 10-year-old son. They leave Tennessee for land in the West that they can claim and call their own. Sharecroppers in Tennessee making a push across the unsettled nation in the year 1883. They're in this pool or aggregation of wagons led by Sam Elliott's character. In this aggregation or collection of people, you essentially have gypsies from another country that left their home nation because of obscene governmental control. I believe they're from France. They come to the U.S., an unsettled country, looking for freedom and manifest destiny. They deal with bandits. They deal with tornadoes. They deal with Native Americans attempting to control the last pieces of land that they have. They deal with heat, snow, forging and crossing a river. They deal with rattlesnakes, biting horses, and kicking women and mothers off horsebacks to their demise on the ground. They deal with internal strife, demoralization, despair, depression, in a grueling march to what they hope is Oregon, an unsettled area where land is free. And in 1883, in this quest or this path or this pursuit of land and freedom and the unknown, people who had no business charting or navigating uncharted land said to themselves, we are not going to live in fear. We're going to pursue a path of our own. I found the zest for freedom in life, in living, in destiny control, and destiny establishment, invigorating. I'm hopeful that we can find a semblance in 2022 of that same hopeful spirit that we are known for. I'm excited for the near future. I'm excited for the rest of this year, for not only our country, but for Charlottesville and Central Virginia. I'm excited for Main Street and its entrepreneurs to be rewarded for their hard work again, for their risk-taking again. I'm a realist. I understand these prices we're seeing on menus now locally are likely here to stay. We'll reflect on this pandemic and COVID as one of the catalysts for increased prices that never decreased again. They're not going to go back down. They're here to stay. I understand that that pinches disposable income for all of us and most negatively impacts our families living on the margin. And I'm frustrated and empathetic to that plight. I fear that the community will become more wealthy and homogenous, and I don't know how to solve that. I feel for entrepreneurs like Scott Link, who opened Rocket Coffee right before the pandemic and closed it officially down this past weekend, and is now in the middle of his life, Scott Link, having to revitalize or reinvent himself as not a coffee shop owner, but now as a realtor in a time when there's low inventory, difficult time to enter the space. But for the Scott Links that I'm empathetic and sympathetic for, I'm excited and exhilarated for the Ryan Becklins of the world. An enthusiastic and inspiring young entrepreneur who is opening a plant-based restaurant named Botanical on the downtown mall in the old Java location. The really crappy part of so many aspects of life is the crapshoot luck that is involved. And unfortunately, a good guy in Scott Link, who will join us next week on this program, the owner of Rocket Coffee, had bad luck when he opened his business on West Main Street across from Maya Restaurant. No one could have predicted a generational, once in a multi-generation, once in 100-year pandemic like COVID. Bad luck. But for every instance of bad luck, there's an instance of potential good luck. And good luck comes to mind with potentially Ryan Becklin, who will join us on Friday a young, enterprising entrepreneur. She is new to the area and is taking the courageous steps of opening a plant-based restaurant named Botanical and an old coffee shop on the downtown mall. For every piece of bad luck that someone struggles with, there's circumstances of good luck that folks are going to capitalize upon. I'm excited. I'm excited for the inventory that's going to come, for the restaurateurs that are going to thrive, for the musicians that will have gigs and gigs and gigs to play, for the officiants and ministers like Dave Norris that will have choices and waiting lists of couples to marry, for the venues like Keswick and King Family that will have ample people looking to book weddings at their locations again, for the vineyards like Well Hung Vineyard that will sell bottles of wine and bottles of wine that turn into cases and cases of wine. And I cannot wait along the way to chronicle and to spotlight and to champion these paths of positivity, these pursuits of excellence and success. No more of us living afraid to survive or fearful of the unknown. Instead, much more of us embracing a zest of life in the community. That's my message for today. We are in a community that has so many bright people within it. A feeder system in UVA that is matriculating 18-year-olds and maturing them into 22-year-olds, with many of them, including yours truly, choosing to call the community home after time on grounds. We have a community that has an entrepreneurial spirit, an innovative spirit, a community that's becoming the tech hub of the East Coast. We're a community where it's insulated from national trends in a lot of ways because of the University of Virginia. We have a data science school in the near horizon. We have Dr. Bobby Chabra's Ortho Center, now alive after a ribbon cutting this past week. We have a downtown mall that's on the brink of bursting with positivity. We have more restaurants per capita than just about any community in the country. We got a wealth of vineyards and breweries and wineries, mountain biking trails everywhere. We got ACC athletics. We got Corin Capshaw bringing some of the biggest musical acts in the world to little old Charlottesville. We got one of the largest collection of multimillionaires in the country here in Charlottesville, now Albemarle County. The disposable income and the job creation that comes with that wealth and supply chain. We got a world-class squash facility. We got 4 seasons of weather. We got hiking and mountainous terrain to enjoy, peach and apple orchards to experience. We finally got a stable local government. Why don't we revel in those elements? And let's get back to being the trend-setting country we are, as opposed to the country that responds a month to a month and a half behind our peers across the pond. Anything you would like to add to that? Judah Wickower, our fantastic director of this program.
That's quite a tall order. You're talking about anything you've just said in the last half an hour? Anything particular you'd like my take on?
Whatever your take, I'm open-minded to.
All right. In regards to England, I think, I think it's time. It's been almost 2 years. I think we seem to have control of this for the most part. I know there are people that are still worried about this, but for most of us, it's we're back in our daily lives. Unless there's some terrible new wrinkle to this, the pandemic, I think we need to start getting back to it.
Amen, brother. Anything else?
I mean, if you want to have a conversation about something, let's have a conversation. I'm not sure I've got any particular insights off of the wall of text I just heard.
It is a time of contagious hope for me right now. I hear moms and dads saying, I think we got it figured out.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think we're getting to a point where, people are ready to get back. People are, like you said, there are businesses that are sadly going under, but there are also businesses that are starting up.
For every one that closes, a new one takes its place.
I don't know about everyone, but yes, there are.
For the majority.
There are places opening. We've got I think, at least another month of cold weather coming, but soon upon the heels of that, we'll have spring and then summer, and I think we'll see a lot of people out there. I think we'll see music, musicians have got to be sick and tired of this, and I can't wait to see them all, coming out and playing gigs and sharing their music with us. And yeah, once it warms up, people are going to be out and about enjoying life. And as we've seen as we saw last summer, the COVID virus tends to, at the very least, subside, or what's the word?
Diminish.
Yep, diminish. The waves go back out, and
if you guys want some hope, just another sliver that you can utilize to motivate. Fridays After 5 is April 15th. April 15th. By my count, we are less than 50 days away from Fridays After 5 in a time when the mall is as vibrant as it ever is. And I will tell you, because many of them are our clients, Fridays After 5 is such an incredible foundation for success for the downtown mall and for Charlottesville in totality. So giddy up and get ready. We are approximately 7, 8 days away from mask mandates being lifted in schools. And as mask mandates get lifted, and as children return to educational settings, many of them unmasked, you'll see a number of results. You'll see confidence grow with parents. You'll see immunity strengthen amongst children. And as immunity strengthens amongst children, and as confidence grows with parents, and as those elements collide with warmer weather and drops in cases and hospitalizations, and then you sprinkle in the undoubted factor of COVID fatigue, and you'll see a boom in local economy, quality of life, and we hope a quick resurgence of the educational elements lost during COVID. On Friday, we highlighted how the CDC, without pomp or circumstance, adjusted word counts for kids. 24 months before COVID, 24-month-olds should have said 50 words. Now it's 30-month-olds saying 50 words. 6 months. Additional time to have the same word count.
Got to manage expectations.
The pomp and circumstance that went into all the other brouhaha the CDC has done over the last 2 years, and yet the pomp and circumstance with word count with kids was missing. And that's a pile of
Horse hockey?
yeah. You and I, on this program in particular, will look to diminish some of the
Horse hockey?
horse hockey. Is that what we call it?
Sure.
Horse hockey? Yeah, I'll call it horse hockey. We'll make a pact to diminish or to remove altogether, on this show in particular, some of the terminology we love. That's today's program. It's the Monday edition of the show, one that I hope you will play with your peers, your friends, especially with your friends, your family, your peers, your colleagues that need a glimmer of hope to motivate and to move forward. For Judah, I'm Jerry, and this is the I Love CVille Show.